Hi guys. So if you watched my short form content, you'll know I've been a little busy lately in that I have grabbed two adorable little minis that I've added to my collection from Louis Vuitton. So first we have the Louis Vuitton Nice Beauty, and then we also have the new Neverfull Nano Cardholder. So instead of doing two separate reviews for these pieces, I thought I would do another edition of Bag Wars where I compare two different pieces, talk through different aspects of each piece, and then determine which one is the winner at the end. So definitely stay tuned to see what my final thoughts are on which one comes up on top, because I think you're going to be surprised. So if we haven't met, my name is Jo, and I am a lover of all luxury bags and beauty. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe, and be sure to click the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. So like every episode of Bag Wars, we'll be comparing the features, the size comparisons, functionality, versatility, and of course, price. So first, let's cover the features of each of these bags. Let's start first with the Nice Beauty. So this piece is part of the Nice collection, which is Louis Vuitton's vanity bag collection. This one is very slim, as it is intended to hold just the lipsticks, but it does have the classic monogram canvas. Now this is like the mini or the micro monogram. It's not the normal size. This piece also has a vachetta top handle, which also comes on all of the other Nice bags in the vanity collection. However, this one is already structured so that it stays standing up, whereas on the other larger versions of their vanity bags, you can push it down. It's also important to note that the vachetta on this piece looks to be pre-treated already, whereas on all of the other Nice vanity bags, it is untreated raw vachetta. The bag does have two zippers like all of their other vanity bags, and similarly, it also has the same wipeable material on the interior. So now let's go over the features of the Nano Neverfull Cardholder. So this piece is brand new. It was released in this month, July of 2026. So this piece is actually meant to be a card holder. So it does have a slot here in the back where you can fit cards. The interior does have a zipper on the top, which is nice. And you can actually fit cards on the interior as well. Now this piece actually does come with a chain, and it does have two little D-rings on the side. So you can actually wear this crossbody and, you know, have it like a micro mini bag that you could wear. Now the vachetta on this piece is raw, so you'll see it is a much lighter color. It does look exactly like a Louis Vuitton Neverfull. It has the same structure, the same size, like all of the little details of the handles matches the same style of the details on the larger versions of this bag. Similar to the Nice Beauty, also the monogram on this piece is more of a mini or a micro monogram as well. The interior of this piece is just a regular coated canvas. It's similar to what you see in their Louis Vuitton clay. Sorry, it's a little hard to get into the light here. But yeah, it's exactly the same as their key pouch interiors, and there are no extra pockets inside. So who is the winner of the features round? I'm going to say that I think the Nano Neverfull Cardholder is the winner because it does have more actual features. It does have the card slot in the back. It does have the crossbody chain and the little D-rings here. It does have a zipper top, and the interior is also kind of a wipeable material similar to this one. So I think it has more features to talk about and ways to organize than the Nice Beauty. And now let's talk about size comparisons. First, we'll compare the two actual pieces against each other. Now, I know these aren't very comparable in size. Obviously, the Nice Beauty is larger, but just so you can get the direct comparison, here they are. You can kind of see from the bottom. Clearly, this one is meant to be a lot more compact. So I'll give you a quick size comparison against more similar sized pieces. So first we have the mini pochette next to the Nice Beauty. This is definitely more comparable, at least visually. You can see that the mini pochette is slightly larger. I will say that the mini pochette can fit significantly more than the Nice Beauty. That is because this is more of a thin material, so it has a lot of give, whereas this piece has all of that interior lining that makes it a little bulky inside, so it definitely can't fit as much as the mini pochette. So I really couldn't find any of my luxury bag charms that were a good size comparison to the Nano Neverfull. So I decided to show it with the little Marc Jacobs Nano bag charm because I do think these are pretty comparable overall. The Marc Jacobs one is shorter, but it is also wider. So I would imagine they would fit a similar amount on their interior. Okay, so now let's do a comparison of what can fit. The Nice Beauty was designed to hold the Louis Vuitton lipsticks that they had released in the same collection. Now, I don't have 5 Louis Vuitton lipsticks, but I do have 5 Hermes lipsticks. And I personally think that these are far prettier and cuter than the Louis Vuitton ones, but that's just me. So anyway, we'll use these for our comparison. So I'm gonna put all 5 of them in here and they fit perfectly. This is, I will have to admit, this is very satisfying to see them all lined up like this. In reality, I don't think I would ever be traveling with 5 lipsticks in a case like this, but it is, you know, nice visually, I would say. For the sake of science, let's see how many of these can fit. All right, so I would say I can comfortably get 3 of them in here and zip it. Let me show you what else can fit into this little pouch. So first we have a lippy, we have my key fob, we have a house key, we have my normal little Ziploc, a comb, we have another mini Ziploc, I have my Kirigami card holder, and then I have my actual key pouch, which I think is pretty impressive that the key pouch fits in there. And in here, I'm using this as a mini catch-all. I have some mini makeup in here, some Tic Tacs, and a lip balm. So yeah, I think all of this fitting into this tiny little pouch, I found to be pretty impressive. Of the items that I shared in the Nice Beauty, what fits in this Nano from that, let's see. And I will say it is arguably a very tight squeeze, but we have the lippy, we have the comb, which I was impressed the comb fit. We have the little Ziploc, the other Ziploc, the keys, the key fob, and then of course I have the cards that can fit in the little card slot there. So I mean, overall, given its size, that is pretty good as well. When we're looking at who is the winner of this round, I think it's very clear that the Nice Beauty certainly fits more than the Nano Neverfull. Okay, so next we are talking through functionality. So when I'm talking about functionality, I'm talking about ease of use. How would I use this piece in everyday life? And is it something that is, you know, something that's going to improve my daily routine or make it easier to use in my bags or easier to organize in my bags? So in this case, this piece, I would say, isn't all that functional. Again, I think a major drawback of this, if you were envisioning to use this as a bag instead of just a lipstick holder or an interior SLG, the lack of D-rings on this one really does hinder its functionality. You really can't use it except as a little top handle, which I would argue overall isn't the most practical. Now you could put twillies on, you could attach it and it would just kind of look a little funky, like hanging at the top of the top handle. Personally, I wouldn't do that, but you know, everyone has their own preferences. I would say too, the zippers on this piece, they're not quite as smooth. So overall, you know, I find that to be a little bit of a hindrance as well. And then in the interior, something I do want to note, first off, I don't know why they made it wipeable. I guess because it's lipsticks, but I mean, like, the lipsticks have a closure on them. So like, I don't know. This interior is kind of puffy. I don't know if you can see it, but it's very thick. And because of that, it takes up a lot of room. And I think it's unnecessary. And I think it hinders a lot of the space that you could have had in a piece of this size. So in my opinion, I don't think that adds to the functionality whatsoever. I would have preferred if they lined it the same way they did with the Nano Neverfull Cardholder or with the like the traditional key pouch. So the Nano Neverfull Cardholder, I would argue, also isn't very functional. I think that if you were to use this as a crossbody bag, because again, it does come with a crossbody chain, you can't really fit much into this thing. I think that the average person would be able to fit like 2 to 3 cards in here, a lipstick, your AirPods, and like maybe a house key or a stick of gum. Like, yes, I show in my short form content and I shared just now that you can fit a good amount in there, but I was jam packing it. Like, it's not convenient. Once I stuck all those things in there, if I needed to get my house key out, I'd have to take everything out to get my house key. And so I mention this every now and then in my long form videos, but what I share in my short form content, it's solely intended for entertainment and to show what can fit. I would never say that packing all of my things in mini form in these like micro bags is anything anyone would really argue to be extremely functional. Very cute. And, you know, if you're in a quick grab and go situation, maybe packing some of the items I show would make sense. But my intent is to just really show that you can, you know, pack a lot in here. But again, not functional whatsoever. Also, I would say the back pocket is very tight. And I think the reason it is tight is because the Neverfull does angle inwards, right? So as you get closer to the bottom, you know, it does get tighter to the width of the credit card. Now, one credit card, you know, I just have a gift card in here, but one of them, like, no problem. But if you're trying to stick like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards back here, it's going to be tight. Like, even with 2, it's noticeably tighter. And if you put more cards in the little slot here, it actually prohibits the bag or inhibits the bag from stretching. So then you can't fit as much in this main section because now it has no room to really, you know, stretch out on this side of the piece. So who is the winner of this round? To be 100% honest, I don't think it's as much of a winner. I think it's more of who was less of a loser. So I would say, oh goodness, I think that the Nano Neverfull is more functional than the Nice Beauty. And again, I think this because you can't really convert this piece. You could put it into a bag as a catch-all, but it is a little larger. So I guess it depends on the size of your bag that you're using. But also, even if you did intend to use this as a catch-all, it can't really fit as much as it looks for its size. So I don't think this really has great functionality. Whereas this piece, it doesn't fit a lot at all. But if you wanted to use it as a wallet, you can fit maybe 1 or 2 cards in here, you know, a bunch more cards in the center section. So this could be functional in that way. Okay, so now let's touch on the next category of versatility. Now, when I am thinking of versatility, I define that more in how many different ways can you use an item, not so much of how functional it is, but can you really use this in a variety of ways to get your money's worth out of it? So first we'll talk through the Nice Beauty. Now, as I said, I do think that a big hindrance of this piece from making it super versatile is the fact that it does not come with D-rings to make this into a crossbody. Now, again, I'm sure people jerry-rig it, or they just have the crossbody handles kind of both meet at the top of the little top handle here, or they'll use twillies and things like that. I've seen it done, so I'm not saying it's impossible. I personally just don't like how it looks. Maybe if you did the twilly and then hung the straps from the twilly, that might look okay, but overall, it's so clearly not intended to be worn as a crossbody. I don't count it as something that is a versatile option. Also, I think that if you use it as a catch-all in your bag, I think that it's bulky. Like, it's very structured, so it's not like the mini pochette that if you're carrying things in it, it's going to kind of form to the shape of what's inside, so it can be slimmer. This one has like one size option. You put nothing in it, like right now has nothing in it, it looks like this. You stuff it silly, it still looks like this. So I don't know. I think that other than mini bag for a night out, traveling with like lipsticks or lip products, using it as a catch-all or a mini makeup bag. So there's some versatility aspects, but not that much. So the Nano Neverfull, I don't know. I guess there are things that you can do with this piece. Technically, you can wear it as a crossbody bag. I'm going to be 100% honest. I will never wear this as a crossbody bag. We talked about that in functionality, right? That said, I do see this being very cute as a bag charm. So that is actually how I use this. I have started to hang it from my new lineup BB because that's the only other piece in my collection that currently has the raw vachetta, and it actually does look very stinking cute. So that is a way you can wear it. So that's 2 ways. I actually think when I was putting the lipsticks in, this would make a really adorable lipstick pouch to put into a purse that is still extremely small and doesn't take up a lot of space. Obviously, you can use it as a card holder, as a wallet. In my short form video, I did clip a chain or wristlet strap to it and my keys. So you could use this as a little like wristlet catch-all type thing. If you don't use a bag or you just want something as a grab and go, it would be really convenient to stick your AirPods and a lipstick or a lippy in it, your key fob, and you're good to go. So I would definitely say the winner of this category is the Nano Neverfull Cardholder. Finally, let's talk about price. Here on the left, this costs $895. And then this little Nano Neverfull was $1,240. You guys, I'm gonna be fully upfront with you. That is a ridiculously stupid amount of money to pay for 2 very small, arguably not functional items. I don't recommend purchasing them overall. I'm going to be 100% honest, and I'll talk more about this in my overall thoughts. But I think the prices on either of these should be considered ludicrous by the normal person watching this video. All right, but let's put some context around it because, you know, really it all depends on what you're comparing it to. I believe the mini pochette right now comes in around $840, somewhere around there. So it is around the same price as this Nice Beauty. Other bag charms at Louis Vuitton are all in the $800, $900 to $1,200 to $1,400 range, depending on what you're buying. So these are in line with what else is offered at Louis Vuitton in the same size or kind of concept, but I still stand by it. Those are stupid prices. If we're talking about who's a winner, clearly it's the Nice Beauty. We'll go with that. So we've gone through all of the different categories for this episode of Bag Wars. So who is the winner of this round? Is it the Nice Beauty or is it the Nano Neverfull? I'm going to give you a plot twist. I think they are both losers. I do think technically if we went through each of the categories, I believe the Nano Neverfull technically won more. I think it won 3 of the 5 categories, but honestly, 100% honest, I personally think that the price should be a weighted category. And the fact that this is $1,240, I think personally, if you made me choose to recommend one of these, I would recommend the Nice Beauty because I think you could use this as a catch-all and, you know, do things with it. This one, because it's so small, it's not a good idea for that dollar price range because it's $400 less. But like I said, I wouldn't recommend either of these. And the reason is the price. These are both ridiculously high in price. And I just don't think that anyone can justify it. Now, I know that sounds really harsh and you might be asking, Joe, why did you buy them then? Or why are you telling us this is a stupid purchase decision when you purchased both of them? Again, I need to caveat that I am not a regular consumer. First of all, I'm crazy. But really, I am a bag collector, right? But also I'm a content creator focused on many things, particularly many luxury things. So these are literally my niche, what my content focuses on. And so it naturally made sense for me to invest in these types of items for my job. And I do consider it a perk. I am very grateful to be able to purchase these types of things. But I am always keeping in mind who is watching this type of video. And I wouldn't want to have people thinking that these are logical purchases for the price overall. I think for most people, they're going to see this and hopefully the pricing on this is more of the alert that, you know, these might not be the best things to invest in. But again, if they bring you joy, if you're an avid collector, if you have the disposable income and you like them and they would make you happy, then, you know, they might be worth looking into. But if you're looking for something that is practical, easy to use, like a splurge, but that you would be able to use on a regular basis, I don't think these are really the best options of items to choose. So what would I recommend, you might ask? If we're talking about the Nice Beauty, I would recommend a mini pochette from the pre-loved market because you can find so many mini pochettes that are, you know, at nearly a half the price of the current retail price of the mini pochette. So I think that you could definitely get one and it is larger. It holds like, So what would I recommend instead of these two if I'm saying these ones aren't the best options? For the Nice Beauty, I would say a mini pochette is very comparable and it can hold more while still being more compact than the Nice Beauty. While they are similar in price in the retail market right now at Louis Vuitton, I would actually recommend getting a pre-loved mini pochette because you can get those for closer to half off the retail price right now because they've been a product at Louis for so long. So they're more saturated in the market. So I would definitely recommend that, or the Key Pouch S, which is, I think, still in the 500s. So that is significantly cheaper than this Nice Beauty. It might hold a hair less, but it is significantly more compact. And so to me, I think that's a better investment. I would recommend the normal Louis Vuitton Key Pouch over this Nano Neverfull. Again, it might hold a hair less than this piece here, but it is like, even at its current ridiculous price, like a third of the cost of this thing. Also, the Key Pouch S is another one that would hold substantially more, kind of serves the same type of purpose. Other than that, if you're looking for a really cute top handle bag charm, I would just go for a non-luxury one. The luxury bag charms are just so inflated in terms of price, and I think you can find many equally cute options, such as that Marc Jacobs one I showed, that has the same essence, the same cuteness factor at literally fractions of the price of these luxury pieces. So that wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching and spending a little time with me today. As always, I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this episode of Bag Wars. Do you think the right bag came out on top? Did you really think I was going to say both of them were basically losers? I know that sounds a little strange, but again, as much as I do personally love these two pieces, I like to think a lot about who is watching this video so that you guys have all the information you need when you are making your buying purchases or adding things to your wish list. So in the end of the day, while I do think these are both really cute and they do have different purposes that they can be used for, overall, if I only had to pick one, or if I had to pick one thing from Louis Vuitton, I would say these would not be in my list of things that I would choose. So hopefully that information was helpful, but definitely let me know in the comments what you guys think below. As always, if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. I would love to have you as a part of this community. And if you'd like to watch more of my content, I'll be sure to include a full playlist here, and YouTube will provide their recommended video here. Otherwise, bye for now.